Right, so we're going to come onto the floor and we're just going to work quite carefully, gently. So when I say we're going to work with back bends, that is nothing drastic or anything like that. A back bend is just an extension of the spine, lengthening our spine. So that's kind of the key word. We're trying to lengthen. We're not trying to contract anything. We're not trying to do anything. We're not pushing or pulling. We're just allowing ourselves to feel what's happening. Well, let me just get rid of that. Sorry, I'm in a different room. So coming onto your back, so the soles of your feet flat to the floor. That's it. And just having that sense of connection to the floor beneath. And if you keep your eyes open for a few moments, so just looking at the ceiling above. I mean, I suppose this is especially for me because I'm in a different room. So always kind of getting that sense of where you are. So that gives us that knowledge that, you know, that we're okay and that we have the safety of the floor beneath and the room around us. And then if it's okay, just carefully start to close your eyes and just coming into that awareness of all those points of contact you have with the floor beneath. So the back of your head, the back of your shoulders, the lower back, and the soles of the feet. And just feeling all those areas, resting, quiet, just as they are. And knowing that we don't have to push down into any of those places in order to feel connected, in order to feel safe. So then when you're ready, when we next breathe in, we're just going to take the arms up, breathing in. And as we breathe out, we're going to bring the arms back down to our sides. So we're just focusing in, bringing our attention to the in-breath, and we take the arms up. You're not trying to do anything too much at all. And as you breathe out, you bring the arms back down to your side. So in order to create well-being, really, is in a sense, we're just trying to slow down. We're trying to do less and trying to stop completing all the lists and running around or chasing our tails. So we're just allowing ourselves to be with the breath as it enters our body, and the breath comes in and the arms go up, and the breath leaves and the arms go down. And we're also, you know, we're kind of focusing our attention, our thoughts, but we're also in that same way starting to mobilise our shoulders. So if you're just joining, just take your time. So just on the in-breath, we're taking the arms up, and as you breathe out, we're taking the arms down. So the next time you breathe in, can you, if possible, take the arms all the way over on the floor above your head, and the elbows are quite wide. And then as you breathe out, take the arms back down to your side. So I can't stress enough that we're not stretching, we're not trying to stretch. Stretching contracts muscles, if anything, so we're trying to lengthen muscles, and that happens when we start to relax. And relaxing is hard. If someone tells you to relax, often, if you don't get annoyed, we just start to do the opposite. Relaxing is difficult when we're awake. So on the out breath, we bring our arms back down to our side, and on the in breath, we take the arms overhead. Now the next time you breathe out, you take the arms down by your side. Stay there. Then this time, or breathe as you need to, this time when you breathe in, you're just going to take the right arm overhead, and as you breathe out, that arm comes down and the left arm goes overhead. So just carrying on, just kind of alternate arms, just finding your rhythm really. And if you know, there's no set way of breathing really, we're just trying to slow it down. And feeling the back of your shoulders. So as the arm lifts, the weight of the arm rests down into the shoulder. As the arm goes down, the weight of the arm rests towards the floor. So you just have that whole sense of connection to what's beneath, because that's what's going to support you, and that's going to allow you to rest. So just moving the arms up and down, just easily. Then the next time when you're ready, just stop with both arms above your head. Breathe as you need to. Now, if that's really uncomfortable with your arms above your head, just take them a little bit wider. The elbows can be quite bent. Can't say enough, we're not stretching. You can move your head from side to side, soften your jaw, and though we've been concentrating, we're not frowning. So the area between your brows is wide. And just being aware of the back of your body resting on the floor, the back of your ribs, the back of the shoulders. And then carefully let your knees drop one way. Doesn't matter which way, the knees drop one way, but can you do that without disturbing the shoulders? Then the knees come back up and the knees drop the other way. Can you do that without disturbing your shoulders? If you find if the knees have gone to the left, if the right shoulder has lifted, just bring your knees up a little bit to allow the shoulder to really settle into the floor. Your knees only go to where they go. Your body only does what it does. You don't have to try to do any more than what your body can do, because it can't. Without force, without strain. So you're just rocking the knees from side to side, just feeling the back of your shoulders resting and being as quiet as possible into the floor beneath. And then when you're ready, just bring the knees back to centre. We're going to take the arms up, and then draw the knees in towards you. So the weight of the knees is just resting down, the weight of the shoulders is resting down through the arms. And then we're going to ever so carefully, without disturbing your shoulders, drop your knees a little bit to the right, come to centre, drop the knees a little bit to the left. So take your time with these, especially because it's been quite a warm day. So if you're feeling hot or if you're feeling a bit bothered, just really allow yourself to slow down. And if you're in a room that is quite cool or there's a breeze, then just allowing that breeze or that coolness to be felt as you're just rocking from side to side. And these little movements are really good if you had headaches or anything like that. So just allowing the weight of your head to be given onto the floor, make sure your jaw is soft, and really allowing your shoulders to settle. Now if it's okay, the next time perhaps your knees go to the left, can you take the left knee all the way down? The right knee doesn't have to go all the way down. Can you turn your head to the right? If that's impossible, turn your head to the left. If it's okay, turn your head to the right, and maybe, if it's okay, take both arms over towards the right. So the left hand might rest on the right shoulder, the right arm resting on the floor behind. And the top knee might come down, or it might not, doesn't matter. That left hand resting on the right shoulder just encourages that right shoulder to drop and to be felt and to rest into the floor. And then when you're ready, bring your knees back to centre, arms to centre. If it's okay, drop your knees over towards the right. The knees go to the right, arms go to the left. Turn your head to the left if possible. If it's not possible, keep it in a place that's comfortable. The right hand rests on the left shoulder. And that just encourages, you're not pushing, that just encourages that left shoulder to settle, to widen and to rest a little bit deeper into the floor. Now if you can be with your breath, you're going to feel the breath around the left side of the ribs. And that's just using different lung spaces, that's working different respiratory muscles. So these are really good exercises for our breathing as well. And really allowing the weight of your body to be felt on the floor. So if there's any tightness around your hips or your thighs or your knees or anything like that, can you just allow yourself to notice, because it's not going to go away. And then when you're ready, just ease the knees back. Take the arms up towards the ceiling, but you're not stretching. Then carefully bring the feet on the floor. We're going to draw the right knee, so right knee comes in. Take both hands underneath the right knee, ease the right knee down. Circle your right ankle a few times one way and then the other way. And remember, with all these things, we're not trying to do anything particular. All we are working at doing is letting go of tension. Give the foot a bit of a shake, because that's a really good way of improving circulation as well, especially might be a bit swollen with the heat. And then when you're ready, if it's okay, we're going to lengthen the right leg along the floor. And if it's okay with your right arm, we're going to take the right arm on the floor above your head. We're not stretching. If it's uncomfortable with your arm above your head, just take it out to the side, or just find a place where it's comfortable. Now take your attention to that left foot, the foot that's on the floor. Lift the left heel up and down a few times. Lift the left toes, or wiggle the toes, anything that you kind of do, wake up that foot. And all we're going to do, we're going to sink down into that left foot, so the base of the left big toe, base of the left little toe, and down through the heel. You're going down into that left foot. That will lift up your left hip. Now your left knee is being sent away from the hip, not out to the side, not to the right, not to the left, but forward, away from the hip. Almost as though you're sending that left knee past your left toes or towards your right toes. So that's lengthening the front of that hip, and it's a really good way at trying to find length in the lower back as well. So you're going to feel the weight rest down a little bit into the right hip and the right side of the ribs, the right shoulder, and then carefully bring the left hip back down onto the floor. Now we're going to do that twice more. The key to these kind of exercises, sort of deep somatic exercises, is to really have a sense of awareness and attention. So again, take your focus to your left foot, rest down into the base of the toes, down through the heel, and that will lift the left hip. And your left knee gets sent away. Feel the sensations in the left thigh, in the front of the left hip, in the lower back, the weight resting down through the right side of the body, the right rib, the right hip. If your eyes are closed, just really focusing on your breath, down through the left foot, and the left hip lifts. Keep the sense of the inside edge of the foot, the outside edge of the foot, so we're not tilting. Not tilting the foot, I should say. The foot stays planted down, and then carefully ease back. So we're just going to do that once more, carefully in your own time. Down through the base of the left toes, down through the left heel to lift the left hip. The left knee gets sent towards, past the left toes. The left knee gets sent away from the left hip. The left shoulder might lift, doesn't matter, or the left shoulder might stay down. But you can feel the weight going down into the right side of the body. And then ease yourself back, ease yourself back. Stop there for a few moments, just feeling the weight of your left hip. Because it eases a really good way at kind of waking up muscles in the lower back. Then when you're ready, draw the left knee in towards you, take the hand underneath the left knee, ease the knee down. Soften your jaw, circle the left ankle a little bit, or give the left foot a bit of a shake. Any movement's good, improving circulation, that helps your knee and that will help your hip. And then carefully, we're going to keep the left knee in, draw the right knee in, hands underneath the right knee, lengthen the left leg along the floor. If it's okay, take the right foot down, so the right knee stays bent. Now the left arm goes overhead, Or the left arm goes out to your side if that's not comfortable. Obviously make sure that you can rest it for a moment, sort of for a length of time. Right, so the right foot down into the base of the right big toes, right toe, down into the base of the little toe, down through the right heel, and that will lift the right hip. Make the movement as pure as possible. So when you're kind of resting down into the right foot, it's as though you're sinking into wet sand or warm earth or wet paint. So you're really trying to make an imprint down. That will lift your right hip. That will send the right knee away from you. That will allow your weight to rest down through the left side of the body. So be really clear about what you're feeling. So we're waking up sensation and we're training ourselves to notice what's happening in our body. So we're not trying to block anything, we're not trying to rush through anything, we're slowing ourselves down to feel. And then when you're ready, ease back. So we're going to do that twice more. Down into the right foot, the base of the right big toe, the right little toe and the heel, to lift the right hips. The right hip lifts as a consequence. The right knee is sent away. The weight rests down into the left side of the body. The right shoulder might lift, the right hip is lifting. So just feel what's going on in your body, but you have that imprint down through the right foot as though you're really sinking down into sand or warm earth or wet grass. And then ease back. Make sure you're breathing. So we're just going to do that one more time. Down into the right foot to send the right knee away, to lift the right hip, to roll slightly over towards the left. So we're really lengthening. We will notice where you feel that length down through the right side of the body, the thigh, the front of the hip. Let go of the buttock muscles. Make sure you haven't tightened anything up. And then when you're ready, just ease back. Stop there for a few moments. And then just bring the knees in towards you. Lightly rock from side to side. So all these things, all these little movements are preparing our spine. They're preparing the muscles either side of our spine. So when we come to do that small back bend or that delicate back bend, we're not forcing, we're not straining. We're helping ourselves. We're not just doing something. We're working with our body. And then when you're ready, we just ease the feet back onto the floor. Feet come onto the floor. You can start with the arms down by your side. Notice, be aware, would you rather have your palms facing down or do you want the palms facing up? So there's no right or wrong, just kind of working in a way that feels doable for you. Now this time, make sure, if there's anything going on with your knees, you can take the feet a little bit further away. If the knees feel okay, you can ease the heels a little bit closer in. There's space between the knees and there's space between the heels. And all we're going to do this time, exactly the same as what you did before with one foot, but we're going to rest down into both feet. down into the feet, the base, the big toes, little toes and heels. That sends your knees away, that starts to lift the hips. Make sure the buttock muscles are soft, make sure you haven't tightened up around the lower back. We're not forcing ourselves up, we're resting down through the feet, and that will start to lift the hips. So your hips lift as a consequence. So all the muscles around your spine, between the vertebrae, around the core muscles, everything stays soft, and we're trying to find movement through the spine. And then carefully ease your ease your hips, your lower back to the floor. So we're going to go again, we're just going to refine it a little bit. So if that was really comfortable for you, you can take the arms up, you can take the arms on the floor above your head, so the elbows are wide, really having that sense of the back of the shoulders resting in the floor. And remember, with all these kind of things, we're trying to rest. We're working and allowing our body to do less. So when you're ready, take your attention down through to your feet, rest down into the feet, and that will start to lift your hips. Notice your knees, probably knees are starting to move away from you, but now, can you imagine that the thighs can start to be drawn up, the knees can start to be drawn up, and the space between the calves and the back of the thighs can widen, become more spacious at the backs of the knees. So that will lift your spine a little bit more. You'll feel more weight resting down through to the shoulders. Feel your breath, make sure you're breathing, make sure your buttock muscles are soft. Make sure you can feel the weight resting down through your feet. So that's the inner edges of the feet as well as the outer edges of the feet, as well as the heels. Feel your breath, and then ever so carefully lower your spine back down onto the floor. When your spine comes down, feel the weight of your spine. Our bodies are heavy, and there's no reason that they shouldn't be anything else, because they're wonderful machines. And then when you're ready with that, just let your knees drop one way. The arms might still be overhead, or you can take the arms a little bit lower. Let the knees drop one way, come up to centre, and let your knees drop the other way. Just doing that a few times, just rocking the knees from side to side. And then when you're ready, if it's okay, we'll just go one more time. So the soles of the feet resting on the floor, the arms can be overhead or down by your side. So we're resting into this position to allow the spine to find a bit of length. Can you feel the back of your head resting on the floor? Can you feel your lower back resting on the floor? Can you feel the feet? And then when that attention on your feet rests down through the feet, now imagine or just feel that your knees are being sent away, and that will lift your hips. And then because we can imagine or feel the knees being sent away, now can you work with the idea that you're drawing the knees towards your hips? We're starting to lift the hips away from the floor and being aware of the space between the lower back and the floor beneath. Your elbows are wide and your shoulders are wide, so we're not forcing down, we're lifting up away from. We're trying to find length in the spine. Your chin is drawn down, but you don't have to do that. You can feel length in the back of the neck. And you don't have to do that, you just feel. And ever so carefully lower your spine back down. Stop there, feel your breath. And then if it's okay, just gently draw the knees in towards you. So the opposite movement, the flexion movement, is drawing the knees in. So now the spine is more in a forward bend. So you can take the hands underneath your knees or on top of the knees, whichever feels good for you. Cross the right ankle on top, just rock from side to side, just noticing how that feels, and then you can cross the other ankle, left ankle on top, just rock from side to side, just notice how that feels, and then just coming back to centre, uncross the ankles, take your arms up towards the ceiling, so the weight of the arms rests into the floor, just rocking your head or turning your head a little bit from side to side. Then when your head turns to the left, if it's okay, drop your knees a little bit to the right. Come back to centre. When your head turns to the right, drop the knees a little bit to the left. Come back to centre. Just continue doing that. You don't have to do very much at all again. We're just easing into the back of the body. We're trying to find ease in those muscles around our spine. And the way that we do it, you can move the arms in the opposite direction to the knees again. So kind of revisiting what we did at the beginning of the session. But it might feel a little bit more different now. You might have a sense of more movement through the shoulders and through the hips. Because ultimately that's all that these things will do, will give us, yoga movements start to give us, is more ease, more fluidity, more comfort in movement. And then when you're ready, just come back to centre, take the hands underneath the knees, ease the knees down. The knees might come a little bit lower to kind of see where you are. Draw your chin slightly down, be aware of your breath coming in. And as you breathe out, can you ease the knees a little bit closer? Be aware of your breath coming in. And as you breathe out, can you ease the knees a little bit closer? And then let go. And then when you're ready, bring your feet to rest on the floor. The knees are bent, the hands can rest on the base of the ribs for a few moments. Just feel how you are. Your body resting on the floor, supported, quiet. And then when you're ready, we're just going to roll onto our sides and we're just going to come to sit because we've been on the floor doing that floor work all that time. So we just come to sit. You can bend the knees a little bit, just circle your shoulders. Just getting that sense of being upright. Then all we're going to do, right hand is going to go on the outside edge of the left knee. And you're just going to take the left arm to look, left hand round to behind you, and your gaze can follow. So just doing a bit of a twist through the upper part of the spine, and then swap over. So the left hand can go on the outside of the right knee, right hand comes behind you, and you can just turn towards the right. Just doing that a few times, just turning from side to side, just easing into the body. And then the next time, perhaps your spine turns to the right, so that means the left hand's on the outside of the right knee, right hand rests behind. Find your left heel, rest down into the left heel, down into the left hip, to turn from inside underneath the ribs. Just turn a little bit more towards the right. Maybe turn your head to look past that right shoulder. Let the right shoulder be as far away from your right ear as possible. Come back to centre. Left hand on the outside of the right knee. No, sorry, it's the right hand on the outside of the left knee. Left hand comes behind you. Rest down into that right foot. Down, rest down into the right hip without pushing. Just feel the weight resting down through the right side of the body from inside underneath the ribs. Just turn towards the left. Maybe you can turn your head to look past that left shoulder. Let the left shoulder really settle. So space between your chin and the left shoulder. Make sure you're breathing. And then when you're ready, come back to centre. We're going to go into all fours. So coming into all fours, the wrists are more or less underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Lift up one knee at a time, lift up one hand at a time to have a sense of connection, but lightness through those parts of you that are in contact with the floor. And then we're just going to draw the chin in. We're going to round the spine, round spine. And then just taking your gaze forward. Now be aware of those muscles, that area between your shoulder blades. And just as you lift your gaze, imagine your neck extending all the way down between the shoulder blades towards the centre of the spine and perhaps even further. And then when we draw the gaze down towards the floor and we draw the chin in, imagine the muscles between the shoulder blades all the way down through the spine, from the base of the skull to the tailbone, being lengthened. When you stop kind of looking down and you start to take the gaze forward, can you imagine that you can lift the gaze from that area between the shoulder blades? Can you lower the gaze from that area between the shoulder blades? So you're finding those muscles, not just the muscles of the neck, but the neck attaches all the way down through to the base of the spine. Well, the neck is part of the spine. So when you're moving your neck, can we find that connection to the rest of the spine? So if you slow it down, just start to feel, and if you don't can't feel anything, then just imagine. Just visualise the base of the skull, the back of the neck connecting all the way down through to the tailbone. So every time you take your gaze towards your knees, or every time you take your gaze forward, you're connecting and you're using the muscles all the way down through the spine. And the next time you draw the gaze towards your knees, and the spine rounds, walk the hands back towards your knees. Keep that sense of real rounded spine and the chin draws in. And can you carefully ease your hips back down towards your heels? If it's impossible for you, you go to where you go. And make light fists with the hands, just to allow the forehead to rest on top of the hands. And that area between your brows is an acupressure point. So if you really let go of the weight of the head, it's really helpful to release tension in the head, in the brain even. And then maybe you can let the head go a little bit lower, or the forehead might come onto the floor. But obviously, you just do what you can do. You can't do any more. And what you do is enough. And then when you're ready, we're just going to come back onto the mat and we're going to rest ourselves down. So we'll go back to where we started. So when you come down, keeping your gaze open, your eyes open I should say, so you're looking at the ceiling above, so taking in where you are, and then carefully close your eyes. Take your arms down by your side, lengthen the left leg away, rest down into the right foot, so the right knee is bent, rest down into the right foot. Now just listen to kind of the words that I'm going to say. Just as we did before, you're resting down into the right foot, but this time you're going to lift up the right heel and you're going to send the right knee over towards the left. So from the right heel, you send the knee over towards the left. The right shoulder can lift or the right shoulder might stay down, but you're tilting onto that left side of the body. Carefully bring the right heel back down, and that brings your hip back down. Let's just do it one more time. First of all, we rest down into the right foot, find that connection with the floor beneath. That will lift up the right hip. Then you can start to lift up the right heel. Now we can start to send the right knee over towards the left, and we just find a very soft rotation through the centre of the spine. And then ease the right heel back down to bring your spine back down onto the floor. So we're just mapping different movements within our body. Then when you're ready, bend the left knee so the left foot comes onto the floor, lengthen the right leg away. Arms can be wherever is comfortable for you. Rest down into the left foot, down into the left foot to lift the left hip. When the left hip starts to come up, lift the left heel. Now use the left heel to send that left knee over towards the right. So you're tilting onto the right side of your body. You're using this movement, initiating from the heel, from the left heel. Then when you draw the left heel back down to the floor, that brings the hip back down, that brings your spine back down. So we're purifying or clarifying movements. We're being really clear with what we're trying to do. Sorry, I need to cough. So one more time, down into the left foot to lift up the left hip. And then when it feels ready for you, lift up the left heel to send the left knee over towards the right. So slow it down. Your attention is everything. So you're tilting onto the right side of the body. Let go of the weight of the shoulder, the weight of the hip. Carefully bring the left heel back down to rest back down, excuse me. When the left hip comes down, settle there. And then just see is it possible to lengthen that left leg away. Left leg goes away and you just let go of the weight of the legs. You take the arms up towards the ceiling just for a few moments. And then either take the arms wide at shoulder height, or can you take the arms on the floor above your head? But you're not stretching, the elbows can be quite bent. And then just feeling the space around your body. So wide space, wide body. Whole body being given to the floor. So when you breathe in, notice where you feel the breath in the body. And as you breathe out, really allowing the whole of your body to rest. As the breath leaves, you let go of the breath as well. You let go of the body and breath. Then your breath comes back in. Maybe deepening the breath a little bit more. And as you breathe out, can you let go of the breath as well as the whole of your body? And just feeling your body connected and rested in the floor beneath. And just as we started, feeling the weight of your head, the back of your head, the weight of your shoulders, the back of your shoulders, the back of your ribs, your lower spine or your lower back, your hips, your buttocks, your legs, the weight of your knees, right down through to the weight of your feet. Feeling supported, feeling rested, and feeling quiet. And knowing that in this way, you nourish yourself. So as we prepare to come out of the practice, just being aware of those feelings that you're feeling. And carefully, when you're ready, just starting to move. So you can start to move your fingers, and start to move your toes, you can move your shoulders, turn your head from side to side. Open your eyes if you want to, or you can keep your eyes closed. So all these things, they're just decisions to make, just choices to make. And then when you're ready, you can draw the knees in towards you if your legs will bend, and just come to rest onto your side. So take your time on your side. So always know that there's no rush. You can decide to stay here longer if you like. And only coming out and coming to sit up when you're ready to join the rest of the day.